Today I am out here at the smokehouse. It is July, first part of July. We're hitting our hottest month. We've had a lot of rain, which is a lot of moisture. So the curiosity is, in my experiments, is how does the meat hold up in the smokehouse? I came out here, and I guess I should have probably done a video then, about a month and a half ago, and there was no mold whatsoever on this meat. I think one of them over here may have had a small spot. It was a little bit. But here, as it all of a sudden the heat exploded and it got really hot again, mold has started growing on here. So me, unsure, don't know. I started doing some research. And from what I can gather, mold is not a bad thing. In fact, a lot of this white mold, they say, is a good sign of a fermentation of the meat. However, green and black mold, if it's got black mold on it, throw it away. This has got a little bit in spots of a light green mold. So from what I read, you can wash it off or you can trim it off. So here's what we fixing to do. We fixing to go cut some of this meat off, and we fixing to go in and take it back down to the knife shop and take a look at it and see exactly what's what. I'm gonna move the camera where these lines ain't shooting down through your face. All right, so you can see on this one really good. You can see all this mold, and then you can see, I don't even see any green mold on that one. This one here, starting to get some green mold here and there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move this one out of the way, hang it right back here. I've got some hooks. All right, this one is the one I had cut off of previously. So I'm gonna take my knife, we're gonna cut us a good chunk of it off, and then we're gonna go and see what is what. I am not really afraid of it. So this may not be something you want to experiment with, I don't know. But what I wanted to do was document the realities of this so that, you know, if there's something that you run into, hey, let's see. So I'm going to probably eat some of this on camera, and you can get in, by the time I upload the video, we'll know if it tore my stomach up or if it what. You can see down deep inside of there is some almost like raw meat, it looks like, inside of there. So we'll take this and go look at it, cut into it, and see what we got. All right, I have got this in here and got it under better lighting conditions where we can see a little more of what's what. First thing I noticed is there is a lot of blood in this, which some of this meat was kind of bloodshot, I guess, because I don't remember which deer this was. So obviously on a good deer or a good piece of meat that didn't have anything, I wouldn't eat that part. Roscoe might want it. So I don't have any problem with eating it. I don't, as far as I can tell. I'll tell you this, I ate some of that the other day that I cut off about a month or so ago, and I had no issues whatsoever. So let me find a rag. I'm gonna keep my knife blade wiped off some of that blood. So this I wiped clean. Now it has a very salty taste initially. It is not overpoweringly salty. And I am sure there is a pile of people that's like, oh, don't eat, I wouldn't touch that. I know you wouldn't. That's why I'm doing it. Because this is about finding out, is it going to make me sick? You don't want to wait till you're in a survival situation and can't go to a doctor to get an education. And for educational purposes, I don't mind being a guinea pig, but I will tell y'all, Clay Hayes has recently did a video on preserving meat. If you're into survival and wilderness stuff, Clay Hayes has an excellent channel. I started watching him years ago for the bow making. However, when he got on the show alone and all, I never watched it. I don't give a rip about that kind of stuff. And the publicity and somebody being a celebrity is the furthest thing from impressing me personally. But I was already watching him because he is excellent at what he does. Thus the reason probably he won the Alone show. So let me get y'all where you can see. All right, now maybe y'all can see a little more what but anyway, he did a video the other day on smoking meat, or it may have been a while back. I just watched it the other day. And part of what got me thinking, hey, what about my meat out here in the smokehouse? Let's go check on it and do a video. So you see me right now just cutting a thin layer off of this. This is where I had cut it the last time. So as mold has started growing on there, we're going to trim that off. I'm not going to eat the mold. I don't know that mold would hurt you or not. But you can see where I have rubbed it. The mold has come off. There's still a little brown mold on this, but you see I have trimmed all of that off. So there's no mold whatsoever on what I've got laying here. Now that is the bloodshot piece, and there's a little mold on that. So, but now what I was getting at is where I'm at in central Mississippi, we have the absolute worst conditions for preserving stuff naturally. Now that's not too salty down in there. That's actually got a really good flavor. This has been hanging up for well over 6 months. I did this before Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back. It could have been in January when but it's been 6 months at least. And the whole reason I wanted to do it is I wanted to learn how to preserve meat naturally in a worst case scenario, because nobody in my generation locally knows anything about it. They did away with preserving and smokehouses and all back in the 50s when they got refrigeration and got electricity out in this rural part of the country. And the people that were alive then were kids. And none of them remember how, they remember having a smokehouse. They remember mom and daddy doing it. They don't remember how to run it, most of them. I'm sure there were some people that hand that knowledge down. And I'm sure there's some people that'll get in the comments and correct me on all kinds of stuff. They always do. That's okay. But nobody I have personally talked to can tell me this is what you got to do and how you got to do it. Our humidity is terrible. So 2 years ago, I killed a deer. And what I done is I put the front shoulders, is what this is, off of a deer, into a salt box. I used pool salt. First year worked flawlessly. I had about the same result as this, except it was extremely salty. So what I had done is I had left it in that salt box for like a month and a half. The next year I did the same thing. I put 2 deer front shoulders in there when I killed a deer early in the year. It was cold. About 2 weeks later, I killed another deer. Was skinning it and was going to put the front shoulders in there. When I opened that box up, inside the salt, the meat had rotted, like rotted. Flies had got to it. It had maggots crawling in it. I dumped everything out, cleaned the salt box out, and I didn't fool with it no more. Yeah, I was like, okay, this, I mean, it just like, oh, I couldn't believe That happened in a salt box. So you have to time things to have cold weather to do this, where there's no flies flying around on everything. Probably, I could use a cooler, but I didn't want it airtight. It needs some air in there for the moisture. You need if you can hang it up and dry it. And I watched Clay Hayes do this the other day. He dried some meat just out in the air, but he was not in Mississippi. He was up in wherever he lives up in the Northwest, out in the Rockies. So I cleaned it out, and then this past fall, I decided I want to try it again because I built a smokehouse. I'm determined to learn how to operate it. And again, I used pool salt. Salt is salt. It don't matter if the bag's got Clorox brand wrote on it. There's no bleach literally in the salt. The company makes it, uses it for pools to put salt in pools, but it is salt. May not be the best thing to eat, but I'm not actually eating it. All I'm using it for is to pull moisture out of that meat. So this, you see, what the salt would actually be on is the outside I'm trimming off anyway. Neither here nor there. This has pulled all the moisture out of this meat, left me with a beautiful color in that meat. And it is dry enough. There's no spoilage on the inside. So I we'll know here in a few hours if, tears my stomach up or whatever. But that's why I dehydrated it out there, hang in that, I say dehydrated, I put it in that salt box for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, I pulled it out and smoked it for 3 or 4 days with hickory wood. And I checked it and it was dried, and I have just let it hang in that smokehouse. Now I've got flies now coming wanting a piece. Roscoe, you want another bite? Me and him will try it. But I'm confident that you can eat this. Here's what I would recommend. I would recommend hydrating this back in water and salting it. When I did this back in the winter, we had some pretty cool weather for a while, which allowed it to work. In other parts of the country, you can get away with a lot more than I can down here. We have extremely high humidity, warm weather throughout the winter. Your biggest battle is the first 3 or 4 days, really. Once you get most of the moisture out, the next 5 or 6 days is important. Not as critical as the first 3 or 4, I don't think. So my salt box is a wood box filled with salt. It's as big as this table. And it's got cracks in the bottom of it so it can drain. You can go back and watch videos on me building the smokehouse, videos on me. I'm sure there's a video I did of me smoking the meat. But I'm going to throw like that away. It's got... But I've got a fly desperately want to get to it now. It smells good to him. It has a real smoky taste, smoky flavor. Do you want another bite? So what else I was going to tell y'all is I would recommend probably putting this in water, hydrating it, letting it soak like for a day in water, cold water, where it don't spoil, and then cooking it. That is the whole purpose behind this, but I'm just trying to test it and see what I have here. I'm gonna put this in my refrigerator for a minute. Just keep the flies from getting to it. And I'm fixing to eat me a can of peaches. Need a fork out here. What is this? That's Del Monte. They just filed for bankruptcy, for those of y'all who didn't know. I seen that on the news, I think yesterday. Good snack. This is my lunch for today, by the way. The meat and the peaches. So, how many of y'all out there are familiar with the workings of a smokehouse or still use one? Because this is very new to me. And by the way, this is not the first time I have eaten meat out of that smokehouse like that. I've been fooling with it for about 3 years, and I have not gotten sick yet. What I am really more working on is improving the quality and the flavor of the meat and the process. Because I have found in different parts of the country, different things work. So the further north you can get, I think you can get away with more than you can here. The biggest factor I have here is you have to really time everything to make it work right. So, and y'all tell me your opinions on it. Is that something you would even attempt? I do know this. My daddy told me when they was kids that they always had to cut the mold off the meat. He said people today would not eat what we eat then. He said we cut the mold off and eat it. And so I know that was something they dealt with back then too. It ain't just like all of a sudden that started. So anyway, I'm going to eat my peaches. I'll pick y'all back up toward the end of the day. I got some knives to work on. I'm building knives and tomahawks and whatsoever else. So we'll talk to y'all later. I'm going to eat this can of peaches is what I'm going to do. I came over here and stuck a knife in that forge a while ago, and I went ahead and forged it and got it in the kiln. I did all that on a little short reel, but I stuck that thing in there, and then I almost just had me a heart attack, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all look. Now, why is he asleep right there? I mean, like, it scared me to death. He ain't hurt nothing. I'm gonna leave him right there, but I was not prepared for him to be there. I was not. I guess I ain't drifting no tomahawk eyes today, am I? He's got them locked down. Oh, I know some of y'all have done took a hoe to him. But leave him alone. Let him help fight my rat problem. If I could get him to keep this cat run out of here, I'd be in business. So, it is late this evening, and I still ain't sick. I still feel fine. if you see this video, you'll know all went well. Because, I mean, if I get sick through the night, I won't post this video. I just delete it and be like, that never happened. Y'all know that's the way everything works. So anyway, thank y'all for watching Spirit of the Outdoors. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one. See what we can find on the YouTube. I was watching Geronimo a while ago. See if any of y'all's got any new videos popped up. And the stickball did start last night. I'll try to share it tonight.
A message that a new colonel had come.
Oh, no. All of them like 2 years ago still. How Wild Times is live. Somebody making a whip. Anyway, we'll find something a little bit. Y'all have a good one.